Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janna Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 9, Text number 14. Tad Yaccha Manyum Asurash Cha Hatas Tayadya Modeta Sadhur Api Vrishchika Sarpa Hatya Lokash Cha Nirvritim Itah Pratyanti Sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha Vibhayaya Janah Smaranti Tadyachamanyumasarascha hatastvayadya Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya Lokascha nirvritimitav pratayanti sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha vibhayaya janah smaranti Tadyachamanyumasarascha hatastvayadya Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya Lokascha nirvritimitav pratayanti sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha vibhayaya janah smaranti Tadyachamanyumasarascha hatastvayadya Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya Lokascha nirvritimitav pratayanti sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha vibhayaya janah smaranti Hatastvayadya Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpahatya Lokascha nirvritimitav pratayanti sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha vibhayaya janah smaranti Anybody online? Nobody.
Modeta sadhurupi vrishchika sarpahatya Lokascha nirvritam ita pratiyanti sarve Rupam Nṛsiṁha vibhayaya janah smaranti
Tat. Therefore. Yatcha. Kindly give up. Manyum. Your anger. Asuraha. My father, Hiraṇyakaśipu, the great demon. Cha. Also. Hatah. Killed. Tvaya. By you. Adya. Today. Modeta. Take pleasure. Sadhu. Sadhu api. Even a saintly person. Vrishchika sarpa hatya. By killing a snake or a scorpion. Lokaha. All the planets. Cha. Indeed. Nirvritim. Pleasure. Itaha. Have achieved. Pratiyanti. Are waiting for pacification of your anger. Sarve. All of them. Rupam. This form. Nṛsiṁha. O Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Vibhayaya. For mitigating their fear. Janaha. All the people of the universe. Smaranti. Will remember. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. My dear Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, please therefore cease your anger now that my father, the great demon Hiraṇyakaśipu, has been killed. Since even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake, all the worlds have achieved great satisfaction because of the death of this demon. Now they are confident of their happiness, and they will always remember your auspicious incarnation in order to be free from fear. Purport. The most important point in this verse is that although saintly persons never desire the killing of any living entity, they take pleasure in the killing of envious living entities like snakes and scorpions. Hiraṇyakaśipu was killed because he was worse than a snake or a scorpion, and therefore everyone was happy. Now there is no need for the Lord to be angry. The devotees can always remember the form of Nṛsiṁhadeva when they are in danger, and therefore the appearance of Nṛsiṁhadeva was not at all inauspicious. The Lord's appearance is always worshipable and auspicious for all sane persons and devotees. Om Ajnanatimidandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadama Hyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pachayane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vanchakalpatrubhyascha Kripasindhuvevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. So now we are continuing our reading of the prayers offered by Prahlāda Mahārāja to Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva after Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva killed his father, Hiraṇyakaśipu, the great demon. For those who might be watching or listening who haven't been keeping up, in brief, Hiraṇyakaśipu was a great demon who performed austerities. He performed some very severe yogic activity in order to become very powerful to take over the universe. He did so. He became extremely powerful, such that actually nobody in the material world could kill him. He got the benediction that he wouldn't be killed in so many circumstances, like he wouldn't be killed during day or night, inside or outside, on the ground or in the sky, by weapons, by men, by animals, all these benedictions, and he thought he had covered all of his bases. But after he tormented his son, after he tried to kill his son in many different ways, because of his son's actually being a great devotee, then Krishna came in this form of Nṛsiṁhadeva and killed Hiraṇyakaśipu in such a way that all of the benedictions that Hiraṇyakaśipu had received were kept intact. So he killed him not on the ground or in the sky, he killed him on his lap. He didn't kill him with weapons, he killed him with his nails, which nails aren't considered, they're considered living. Well, they're neither living nor dead. They're not dead because they grow, but they're not living because it's just kind of, there's no consciousness there, there's no, it's just kind of dead cells. At the same time, it wasn't day or night, it was dusk, it was twilight. So all these different ways. So he appeared, and then the main feature is that he appeared as a half man, half lion. He has the body of a man, so to speak, and he has the head of a lion and the claws of a lion. So in this way, Hiraṇyakaśipu was killed by the Lord to protect Prahlāda, and he at the same time kept the benedictions that Hiraṇyakaśipu had received intact. And the main feature, so then I'll say now that after Hiraṇyakaśipu was killed by Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, all of the demigods came and tried to pacify him because Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva was very angry. He was a very fierce form of the Lord. And so all of the demigods came and tried to pacify Nṛsiṁhadeva. And they offered different prayers, thanking him for killing this great demon, and amongst other things. But still, Nṛsiṁhadeva was very angry. He's just kind of like sitting there, just kind of like very angry. And so, after all these demigods offered prayers, they said, "Hey, Prahlāda, he appeared for you, so you go pacify him." And so he did. Prahlāda Mahārāja went there. He's a 5-year-old boy and a great devotee of Krishna. And so he went there, and now he's offering these prayers. So we're in the 14th verse, so he's offered some prayers by now. So we're kind of in the middle of his prayers here. And so in this prayer, Prahlāda, he says this very famous line, Modeta sadhurapi vrishchika sarpa hatya, that even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake. And similarly, all the worlds have achieved great satisfaction because of the death of this demon. And Srila Prabhupada, in the first line of the purport, he says, the most important point in this verse is that although saintly persons never desire the killing of any living entity, they take pleasure in the killing of envious living entities like snakes and scorpions. So the general, if you look all throughout Shastra or Vedic scripture, one of the main points which is brought up, in fact, is nonviolence. Nonviolence means not killing any, not unnecessarily harming, killing any living entities, even not causing them any disturbance unnecessarily. All these different things. It's more subtle or nuanced than just nonviolence, like nonviolence as in killing or hurting or torturing, like that. So, and in fact, there's one verse in the Mahabharata which says that all of the Vedic prescriptions, the Vedic, coming from the original Vedas, for those of you who know the Karma Kanda section, the main feature of them is ahimsa, or nonviolence. That's the main feature of Karma Kanda. And so, it seems contradictory here that the Bhagavatam is saying that even a saintly person takes pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake or another living or envious living entity. It seems like they're contradictory statements. One thing that has to be understood is that in Shastra, or in the Vedic scriptures, they're meant to be understood under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, of an authorized guru. So there are various statements which are scattered throughout the Vedic scriptures, which are all correct. We accept that the Vedic literatures are inerrant, or they're all correct. There's no errors within the Vedas. However, there are many Vedic statements which are incomplete, and that's actually intentionally so. There's many statements which are scattered throughout the Vedas, which are correct, but they're incomplete. So, for instance, that ahimsa, or nonviolence, is a central, essential principle, is a correct statement. And at the same time, that even saintly persons take pleasure in the killing of a scorpion, a snake, or another living entity is also a correct statement. So these statements have to be harmonized. And so this is why to hear the Vedic literatures under the guidance of a spiritual master is absolutely essential, because they're not designed to be understood just by reading the letters on the page. Everything has to be understood in context. And there's even one term, I'm forgetting the term now, it's a Sanskrit term, which describes, it's from Mimamsa. Mimamsa is the system which is given within the Vedic literatures for understanding the Vedic literatures, that says that it's a method of understanding, which says that one shouldn't just take one statement and accept it and just run with it and accept it as this is the verdict of the Vedic literatures. But actually one has to take many, many different statements from many different places, many different shastras, and harmonize them. And then one can have a solid or a really nuanced and complete idea of what the perspective of the Vedic literatures is on any particular issue. So here we're hearing this seemingly contradictory statement that even a saintly person takes pleasure in the killing of a scorpion or a snake. That is because, although, any other envious living entity, although saintly people don't desire that any living entities be killed, at the same time, they see beyond just this one body and this one life. That actually certain people, it's actually better for them to be killed. And this comes up in of course, this has to also be extremely nuanced and understood and properly. But this was much of Krishna's instructions to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna was arguing, even on the basis of the Vedas, that killing these people is not proper. This battle, me fighting my teacher, me fighting my relatives, all these people being killed, it's not proper. It's going to create havoc in society. But Krishna told him that although you're speaking like a learned man, this was Krishna's first instruction, practically speaking, to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. He said, although you're speaking very learned words, you're a fool, basically, he said. He said, you're lamenting for your vision is narrow, too narrow. And you're lamenting for that which learned people don't lament over, namely the body. The body is not something to be lamented over. Why? Because it's temporary. Every body that we have and others have is only a small portion, or you could say, like Dravida Prabhu says, a small chapter in a very long book. And in some cases, actually, it's better if some people move on to a different body. After this body, when the body dies, then the soul moves on to a different body. And so Krishna is explaining to Arjuna that, listen, the world is burdened by all of these people who are not dharmic, who are not acting for the welfare of others, and now they're ruling not just a certain country or a certain place, but they're ruling the world. And so for you to kill them yes, there might be some suffering, there might be some this and some pain involved, but in the big picture, it's actually much better. Not just for the world, but actually for even the person itself, or themselves. All the people on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, where Krishna was, for instance, attained liberation. Even those who were, you could say, demoniac. They all attained liberation. Why? Because Krishna was there. And in a similar way, it's described in the Vedic literatures that kings and other such people can actually be responsible or are ordained by Krishna. Of course, we're talking not just about any king. We're talking about saintly kings who are pure devotees, which are very few and far between, or practically non-existent nowadays. But for a saintly king who's a pure devotee of Krishna, actually he is ordained by Krishna, empowered by Krishna to dole out certain karmic reactions for his subjects. Therefore, it's described that for a murderer, it's actually beneficial that the murderer be killed by the state. Because the murderer has killed somebody wrongly, and therefore for him to be killed, that's his karmic reaction. He gets that reaction, and then in his next life, he has a clean slate. So it's actually very beneficial. So in a similar way, for this demon, Hiraṇyakaśipu, he was causing the world so much trouble, so much pain. All the demigods were offering different prayers describing how this guy was really messing everything up for us. And it should be noted that it's not just a selfish desire. Prahlāda and the other demigods were not necessarily, now of course some of them were more selfishly motivated than others, but at least on Prahlāda's end. Srila Prabhupada describes in one lecture that Prahlāda could have stopped Nṛsiṁhadeva from killing Hiraṇyakaśipu. If he gave the word, Hiraṇyakaśipu would have been spared. But Prahlāda was actually took pleasure in seeing Hiraṇyakaśipu killed. He sat and he watched. Srila Prabhupada describes that he watched it happen. Why? Because it's not for some selfish desire for revenge or something like that. But Prahlāda knew that Hiraṇyakaśipu being killed personally by the Lord was actually very beneficial for him. And that in this birth, for him to continue living would actually be bad for him. He would only accrue more sinful karma, and he would have to suffer more and more and more. So that's one perspective. For Hiraṇyakashipu's own benefit, Prahlāda took pleasure in watching him be killed. From another perspective, it's not, Hiraṇyakashipu was creating a lot of trouble for the entire world, and he was blocking the path of dharma, by which people can become elevated, and by which people can receive benefit, spiritual benefit. So it's not that the devotees of the Lord just want to relish Krishna consciousness for themselves and want to kill anybody who's blocking their own relishing of Krishna consciousness. But like Kunti prays in the first canto, she says, Shrinvanti gayanti grinanti bhikshna, grinanti bhikshna smaranti nandanti tavehitam janaha. That yes, the devotees like to hear about and remember and worship Krishna, but they also, it says nandanti tavehitam janaha, they also receive pleasure, they're enlivened seeing others do so as well. So if somebody is just completely unstoppable and is just blocking the path of real dharma by which people can be benefited, receive great benefit, then such a person is rightly killed. And the devotees actually take pleasure and are enlivened by the killing of such a person. Now, that of course has to be balanced. It's not that we go around, killing people or ordering people to be killed or desiring that certain people be killed. The emphasis that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the originator of our tradition, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, his emphasis is that in Kali Yuga, in this age which is so prone to degradation, it's much more dangerous to kill demons, in the sense that if the just outright killing of demons was allowed, then that's something that is very easily exploited for people's own benefit, and it could just create real havoc. And just like in the Vedas, certain animal sacrifices are actually said to be effective and recommended in some places. But because those things are so nuanced, they have to be performed in a very particular kind of way, and also because it's something that can be so easily exploited just for one's own ends, and also can accrue a lot of sinful reaction for a particular person. Therefore, those animal sacrifices in Kali Yuga aren't recommended. And in a similar way, for followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, killing demons is not recommended. And anyway, it's not like, even if it was recommended, it's not like everybody could just go around and say, hey, this guy's a demon, and shoot him and kill him. It's by specific persons, specifically by kshatriyas, by warriors. It's not just that any Joe Schmo goes around and says, oh, this guy's a demon, and kills him. But in Kali Yuga, that tendency is there. That somebody who just wants to go around and kill people can say, oh, well, he's a demon, this and that, and such a thing can be exploited. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he emphasizes that the killing of demons should not be, it's not that we kill the bodies of the demons, but we kill the demoniac mentality by spreading the teachings of Krishna consciousness, and by by spreading the teachings of Krishna consciousness, specifically in the form of the holy name of Krishna. And the holy name of Krishna is so powerful that even for a most demoniac person, it has the ability to cut through all of that contamination and reawaken the original Krishna consciousness of a living being. So therefore, that's Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's emphasis. So that's a little bit about what Srila Prabhupada describes here as the most important point in this verse. Some other things, it says, Srila Prabhupada describes that the devotees can always remember the form of the Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva when they are in danger, and therefore the appearance of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva was not at all inauspicious. The Lord's appearance is always worshipable and auspicious for all sane persons and devotees. So, upon seeing the form of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, there was one pastime with Srila Prabhupada. He was staying in San Francisco in 1967, after he had a stroke. He was staying in some, I don't remember it being San Francisco proper. It was some beachside. Yeah, it was up the coast a little bit. He was staying at some house by the beach so that he could regain his health after he had some kind of stroke. So Srila Prabhupada was staying there, and he was staying there, and then devotees brought paintings and stuff like that to put in the house, paintings of Krishna and things like that to decorate the house. And Srila Prabhupada at one point said, there was a piano there in the house. And he said, I want to play piano, bring the piano over here. So they kind of dragged the piano over to Srila Prabhupada. And as they did so, they heard a little, huh? Yeah, it's bona fide, yeah. They heard a little kind of like something kind of thump. And Srila Prabhupada said, what was that? And one of the devotees there was a painting that was hidden behind the piano. And Srila Prabhupada said, what's that doing there? What's it doing behind the piano? And one of the devotees said, oh, Prabhupada, I couldn't hang it up. It's just so gruesome, and, it's not very nice, And Srila Prabhupada said, what are you talking about? It's very beautiful, actually. So although Nṛsiṁhadeva appears in this form, well, actually, the next verse is good. The next verse says, "My Lord, I am certainly not afraid of your ferocious mouth and tongue, your eyes bright like the sun, or your frowning eyebrows. I do not fear your sharp pinching teeth, your garland of intestines, your mane soaked with blood, and your high wedge-like ears, nor do I fear your tumultuous roaring, which makes elephants flee to distant places, or your nails, which are meant to kill your enemies." So one might see this form of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva soaked in blood and wearing a garland of Hiraṇyakāśipu's intestines, and there's blood everywhere, and he's roaring with fangs and sharp teeth, and he's got all kinds of weapons. One might see that and think, whoa, geez, that's not very auspicious. I remember I brought my uncle to the LA temple. They have this picture, this painting, the original one. It's very big, actually. And he saw it, and he was a little bit taken aback because it's kind of a startling form. But the devotees, upon seeing this form, are very enlivened. They think it very beautiful. Why? Because they know that the ferocious teeth, the ferocious nails, the tumultuous roaring, it's not for them. It's actually, it's for their, meaning it's not to be used against them. It's for their protection, for their enlivenment. And therefore there's this verse that is written by Sridhar Swami. Sridhar Swami is perhaps the most famous commentator on Srimad Bhagavatam. And his worshipable deity was Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And so in his commentary, he has all these beautiful verses about these beautiful prayers to Nṛsiṁhadeva. There's one that says, Prahlāda Mahārāja Bhakti Avidyavadaranam Sharanindruchim Vande Padindravadanam Harim. That Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva is Prahlāda Hridaya, that he enlivens, or he gives, Hlada means like pleasure, and so he gives pleasure to the heart of Prahlāda. Bhakta Vidya Vidaranam, and he slashes to pieces the ignorance of his devotees. Sharanindruchim Vande, and he shines like a beautiful full moon in autumn. And then it says, Padindravadanam Harim. He says, I desire to offer my obeisances to him over and over again. But there's one very famous one which is quoted in the Chaitanya Charitamrita that says, Ugrapyanugra evayam svabhaktanam nrikeshari keshariva svapotanam anyesham ugra vikramaha. That Ugrapyanugra evayam, although Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva looks very fierce, Ugra api, although he's very fierce, Anugra evayam svabhaktanam nrikeshari. He is actually very affectionate and very soft and gentle with svabhaktanam, his devotees. And then he uses this name for Nṛsiṁhadeva, Nrikeshari, which means he's half man, half lion. And then Sridhar Swami in the third line says, Keshariva svapotanam, just like a lioness is very affectionate toward her cubs. Anyesham ugra vikramaha, but with others she's very fierce. In that way, Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, he's extremely fierce. He's like just frightening, like anything. Hiraṇyakaśipu, he wasn't afraid of anybody in all the three worlds. Even when he first saw Nṛsiṁhadeva, he wasn't afraid of him. But it describes in the chapter where they're fighting, Nṛsiṁhadeva and Hiraṇyakaśipu, they're fighting. Hiraṇyakaśipu describes that actually he became very terrified upon hearing the laughing of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. We were talking about that yesterday. So, I think later. Yeah, I got to practice first. So, yeah, this very fierce form. There's another verse. This is in the last verse of the Nṛsiṁha Kavacha, which are prayers recited by Prahlāda Mahārāja. Garjantam garjayantam nijapucha patalam spotayantam hatantam rupyantam tapayantam divi bhuvidijam kshepayantam kripantam krandantam roshayantam dishi dishi satatam samharantam parantam vikshantam purnayantam karnikarashatai divyasimham namami. it describes that Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, his roaring makes other people roar. Of course, it's not the same kind of roar. Yeah, the demons. He roars, and practically it describes that the demons start screaming because they're very afraid. Yeah. Yeah, so his screaming makes others, the demons particularly, garjayantam, nija bhuja patalam spotayantam hatantam. And with his hands and his very strong arms, he's ripping them to pieces and throwing them, and just like tearing them asunder, just ripping them to pieces and throwing them about. Krandantam, huh? Oh yeah, rupyantam tapayantam divi bhuvi ditijam kshepayantam kripantam. And he's searching them out. He's searching them out. He's looking for them, and then again oh yeah, he's going from the heavens to to the earth. He's searching them out everywhere, just to tear them asunder and kill them. Yes, ditijam, the daityas, the demons. Krandantam roshayantam dishi dishi satatam samharantam bharantam. And so he's Krandantam means like he's crying out, right? Krandantam, and then Roshayantam, what does Roshayantam mean? Oh yeah, he's crying out in great anger. Krandantam Roshayantam, dishi dishi satatam samharantam bharantam. And dishi dishi means in all the directions. Oh yeah, and then in all directions, samharandam bharantam, he totally destroys them, totally kills them. And then, but vikshantam purnayantam karnikara shatai divyasimham namami, with those same hands and nails which he's just tearing the demons asunder, he's maintaining all the universes and protecting everybody, specifically the devotees. And then it says divyasimham namami, and he says, I offer my obeisances to that transcendental lion. So it requires a certain, well, here's what it requires. There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam that says, Saveda datuv padavim parasya durantavir yasya rathanga parne yo maya ya santatayanu bhajeta tat pada sarojagandham. That in order to understand, it actually doesn't even say in order to understand. It says, well, anyway, so in order to understand, Saveda datuv padavim parasya durantavir yasya rathanga parne, in order to understand the great power of Rathanga Parne, of Krishna who wielded the chariot wheel, for those who know that pastime. Yo maya ya santatayanu bhajeta tatvaza sarojagandam. He understands who always favorably engages. Santata means continuously. Santatayanu who continuously, favorably engages in bhajeta tatpada sarojagandam, worshipping that Lord's lotus feet. So in order to understand the great power of Nṛsiṁhadeva, in order to understand who he is and what his purpose is and how he is beautiful and not just a fierce kind of like scary looking personality, in order to understand that transcendental beauty, that transcendental nature of Nṛsiṁhadeva, then one has to one can only see that from the perspective of somebody like Prahlāda, who is Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva's sold-out servant, a lover of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, a devotee of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. Otherwise, he just appears like some very fierce, scary personality, and especially to, for instance, Hiraṇyakaśipu, somebody who is averse. But just like if a person is, for instance, if a child is somewhere with his father, and somebody, whatever, says something to the father, this and that, and he sees the father gets so angry, he's yelling, he's screaming, he might even punch the guy in the face or something like that. The child doesn't become scared that, oh my God, my dad's a really strong guy, maybe he's going to yell at me and punch me in the face or something like that. No, he thinks, look at my dad, he's so strong, he's amazing, he's my protector. I have nobody, he feels absolutely, completely safe with him. Although he sees this fierce kind of anger that his father has within him, he accepts that as just another aspect of his father that he loves. In a similar way, Prahlāda, he's not seeing Hiraṇyakaśipu as this great slayer and scary. somehow or other in all of these classes, I mix up Nṛsiṁhadeva and Hiraṇyakaśipu. Yeah, I'm not sure why, because it's not like they're similar names or something like that. Yeah. But, yeah, so he's not seeing Nṛsiṁhadeva as this scary, fierce personality that he has to fear. Srila Prabhupada brings up the point that he was very sober, actually. He saw Nṛsiṁhadeva and just kind of watched him tear his father to pieces, Hiraṇyakaśipu to pieces. So it requires a devotional mindset to understand the transcendental nature of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva. And when one has that devotion toward him, then, like Srila Prabhupada says, the devotees can always remember the form of Nṛsiṁhadeva when they are in danger, and therefore the appearance of Nṛsiṁhadeva was not inauspicious. At the beginning of this canto, there's a chapter there where it describes that the Supreme Lord is equal to everyone, which was kind of a precursor to this pastime. Because somebody might doubt that, man, this seems like really kind of inauspicious. The Lord's coming personally, and he's like tearing this guy in half, and he's like angry. He's like really, really angry, and he's got blood all over him, and it's like doesn't really seem like most people's conception of a loving God. However, one who's a devotee of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva understands, or a devotee of Krishna, devotee of Lord Nṛsiṁhadeva, understands that whatever emotions that the Lord presents or expresses are all auspicious. Why? Because they're for the benefit of everyone. They're for the benefit of Prahlāda, who is being tormented by his father. It's for the benefit of the entire world, which was being harassed by Hiraṇyakaśipu. It was and because the path of Dharma was blocked, and therefore the entire world couldn't receive benefit. And it was also for the benefit of the devotees in the future, who could always remember this beautiful transcendental form of the Lord as a protector, and who could be assured that in any situation, any difficult situation, the Lord was always there to protect his devotee. So in this way, the Lord's appearance as Nṛsiṁhadeva is very auspicious. And similarly also the killing of Hiraṇyakaśipu was very auspicious. Although the devotees never desire anybody to be killed, still they take pleasure in the killing of such a demon like Hiraṇyakaśipu. So is there any, it's a little bit over time. Is there any comments or questions?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the very interesting lecture. I just, a quick question. You're saying that scorpions and snakes
I didn't touch on that, yeah.
Should be killed. Should be killed because they're lusty of lust or envy. Excuse me.
Yeah,
envy.
yeah. So generally, like certain living entities, like for instance snakes and scorpions, it's described in Shastra that their nature is very envious. Means that they generally even if you look at their body, like a scorpion's body is basically just like a big killing machine. Like it's just like the main feature of a scorpion's body is the big giant stinger and claws and things. It's kind of like a little killing machine. And also they're very dangerous. Similarly with snakes, at least certain snakes, like the main feature of their body it's just a long tube with a head that has poison, which can kill you. So therefore, the killing of such living entities, when it's, of course we don't go out of our way, but the killing of such living entities when it's required is good for. There's a pastime with Srila Prabhupada's Guru Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Prabhupada was outside of his flagship temple, his Guru's flagship temple in Mayapur, and there was a big snake. And the devotees were just kind of trying to figure out what to do, and Srila Prabhupada's Guru said, "Kill it." And Srila Prabhupada was a little bit, he said at that time he was a little bit bewildered. He's saying, why is my guru ordering this living entity to be killed? But then he read this verse actually, and he realized that it was authorized. The main idea being that it's good for, in the same way as Hiraṇyakaśipu is being killed, again, it's not like we go out of our way to kill snakes, just like we don't go out of our way to kill demons or something like that. But if a snake is in a position where it could harm somebody, then it's beneficial for that snake to be killed for the purpose of protecting whoever's there, and also for the snake's own benefit, because it's a very low form of life. So by killing that snake, then it's automatically it moves on to the next rung of the ladder of animal life. So for those two reasons, mainly. Yes, Prabhu.
When Prabhupada speaks about that, because I heard that pastime, that's famous, and he says the reason is that the snakes, they attack for no reason at all. If you're just passing by on the path, and then they'll attack, just like Narada's mother when he was a child. His mother was bitten by a snake. Well, she wasn't doing anything with the snake. She just happened to be there, and boom, And so that's one of the reasons why it's fine to kill them, and the sages are happy when they're killed, like that.
Aviral Prabhu, yes, something?
Yeah, actually, I was reading it somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, actually, I was reading it somewhere that the snakes, like as you told, that they are low forms of life, but I was reading it somewhere that they have like consciousness. Like if you kill the snake, you should bury him like a human.
It is described, that if you kill a snake, you should bury it.
Yeah, and for cows and snakes, it is a tradition in India that if the cow is dead, or you kill a snake, or you find a snake which is dead, you should bury him, because they are higher forms of, they have higher consciousness. That's what I read it, or someone was telling me. So,
Yeah, I've heard similar things. I don't remember I don't know of a particular reference, but I do remember hearing such a thing. Yeah. Yes.
Hi, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay. So I keep getting distracted by one of the paintings or pictures behind you of like all these snakes with Krishna, and I was just curious because we were talking about killing snakes.
Yeah.
Like, what's happening?
So there's one pastime. Okay, so I'll briefly tell it. In Vrindavan, where Krishna was living, there's a river called the Yamuna River, where people would go. Well, actually, here, what I'll do is I'll adjourn. Everybody can go, and I'll just briefly tell us. So I'll say, Granth-raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. So those of you who need to leave, you can leave. But so basically, yes, there was this big snake, this giant. It wasn't exactly like a snake like we know about snakes. It was like a celestial kind of snake, and his poison was so strong that anybody who even went near that river would fall over unconscious. It was really strong, and so Krishna went there with his friends, and his friends and the cows that they were herding fell over unconscious, and Krishna decided, okay, I'm going to teach this guy a lesson. And so he jumped into the river with him, with this big celestial snake, and was fighting with him in his coils for like 2 hours underwater. And then this is depicting the climax of that, where everybody was so worried they were thinking Krishna was dead or something like that. And then all of a sudden Krishna jumps out of, Krishna with the snake comes out of the water, and Krishna's dancing on his hoods. And in this way, he like defeated him. And so this is just depicting Krishna dancing on top of this snake's hoods. Yeah. Sure. Chad.
Actually, a quick question. There's the lower planet that consists of all snakes, right?
There is a certain, yes, heavenly, like subterranean heavenly planet, which consists of, Nagas, yeah.
Yeah. Are they typically envious? Is there characteristics of them?
I'm not sure so much about them. I mean, they're considered higher beings. Yeah, they're considered like higher beings, like celestial beings, kind of something like demigods. They're not like demons, at least that I'm aware of. But they are considered to be like, they're not snakes like snakes that like slither on the ground. They're kind of like they're kind of like celestial kind of snakes. They're not exactly normal in the sense that they have higher consciousness and things like that. So they're not at least my understanding is that they're not envious and like just like they're not necessarily like demoniac living entities. Yeah. So okay, Hare Krishna.